Sveiki visi, and welcome to another Lithuanian lesson with me, Antanas, and today I will show you past tense conjugations and I will give my insights and suggestions how you can learn verbs in past tense better. So first of all, past tense has only two conjugations, and you can see in the table, for example, dirbti is infinitive form of a verb, and third person past tense, jis, ji, he and she, has a form dirbo. So the last letter is o, and conjugation is called o conjugation. The same will be with the word bėgti, bėgo, and another conjugation has ending e in the third person past tense. For example, daryti, darė, baigti, baigė. So basically that's pretty much what you need to know, but there's a bit more information. So actually when you're learning every verb, you should be learning infinitive, which is the basic form of a verb that you will find in the dictionary, third person in present tense, and third person in past tense. It's what we are learning now. So let's have a look. When we know that the verb, let's say, has o conjugation, for example, dirbo, he worked, or she worked, dirbo, then first and second person will have following patterns. Aš dirbau, tu dirbai. The same would apply to another verb. Aš bėgau, tu bėgai. Jis bėgo. And the pattern of another conjugation, e, is a bit different. It's a bit softer. So jis darė, he did something. Aš dariau, tu darei. The same will be with the word aš baigiau, tu baigei, jis, ji baigė. So if you know that the verb has particular conjugation, let's say o conjugation, then if you look at this table, aš and tu will follow the exact same pattern regardless of a verb. So I worked, aš dirbau, I lived, gyvenau, I bought, pirkau, and so on. Yes, so basically if you have everything in one place, let's say you have infinitive and past tense forms, then you can know first and second person by looking at this table. And with some practice you will learn this by heart. Okay, and plural forms are a lot easier. So for example, if you have the same word dirbo, he or she worked, dirbo, the same form is for they, jie, and jos. Yeah, so it's the same form. So singular and plural third form is the same. And if you add two more letters, you will have mes, we form, mes dirbome, and second person plural, you, jūs dirbote. The same happens with another conjugation e, so jis darė, mes darėme, jūs darėte. This is a good example why we need to learn third person as we are learning each verb, because from third person you will build plural right away, and third person gives you the pattern for singular forms as we have seen in the previous slide. But the story doesn't end here. Sometimes we have longer endings in infinitives, or let's say a bit more vowels in one place or something like that, and then you have some additional letters that slip in when you conjugate the verbs. So for example, vaikščioti, to walk, then third person would be jis vaikščiojo. Yeah, so you see some longer ending, but first and second person is built from third person and it follows the same pattern as we had with the word dirbti, to work. So aš vaikščiojau, tu vaikščiojai, jis vaikščiojo. Another pattern has ending ėti, like kalbėti, turėti, norėti, galėti. All these words will have the same pattern when we conjugate them. So, jis kalbėjo, tu kalbėjai, aš kalbėjau. Another very important ending is keliauti. Jis keliavo, you see, v slips in, keliavo, and then aš and tu follows the same pattern. Aš keliavau, tu keliavai. Dainuoti also has specific ending, dainavo. Yeah, so keliauti and dainuoti, those two endings with lots of vowels keliauti, and dainuoti will have the same ending actually. And almost all the verbs that has ending yti, like rašyti, skaityti, daryti, matyti, will have letter e at the end, and it will belong to e conjugation. So he wrote rašė, you wrote rašei, and I wrote rašiau. Okay, so whenever you are learning a verb, please write down infinitive and third person in present tense and third person in past tense, because using all these three forms will help you to build any other form. I also summarized these longer endings in this table, so whenever you run into a new verb, you can check if it has any of these endings, and if so, then you will know the pattern, okay? And I also want to mention that sometimes the verbs have different roots in different forms. So let's take a look at word gerti, to drink. In third person past, it changes the root vowel and it becomes gėrė. Or for example, siųsti becomes siuntė. If you look at the verb siųsti, you would probably not know how it would look in the third person past tense, so that's why you need to learn it by heart. Or when you're reading or listening, just pay attention, and sometimes the words will just stick and you will remember them without learning. And one more note, if you look at the word nuspręsti, for example, jis nusprendė, he decided, but in aš form you have a different sound as well, nusprendžiau. I even wrote here below the table that sounds teu and dau do not exist in Lithuanian because the sounds teu and dau are too soft and they have to change, for example, siunčiau and nusprendžiau. Okay, just keep that in mind. I also created one Google sheet with lots of different verbs, and I wrote down infinitive, present and past tenses, and also translations, so I will leave a link in the description box down below. Make sure to check it out, and I also want to invite you to my Contribute page, which is based on subscription model, where I am uploading audio materials, dialogues or some texts, recordings with transcripts and with flashcards and various interactive tasks. You can see some of these tasks here. For example, here you could practice past tense and many more topics. So if you are interested in learning Lithuanian using my materials, please make sure to subscribe because I'm uploading one task per week. I will leave all the links down below and see you next time. Iki.